we're giving the work to people who are already paying us. And I think that when it did, you know, the union leaders came in, and they were all in support of it.
But if there's
And-
a part missing.
But we didn't put union in it.
You can't tell, I mean, Windham Electric has done so much work for us, you can't tell me that there's something that, this is so specialized that they couldn't do.
I don't know,
Something.
whatever.
If there's a part missing, give them a part.
That is,
You know?
very, they are, these
But-
panels, the meters, they're like a year out, so somebody has one that will fit it.
Yeah, I mean,
Twice, and it's no.
Right, and we have supply chain issues now, I get that.
But electrical is like unique with absurd right now, 12 to 18 months is not uncommon right now.
No, my brother-in-law is doing automotives, they are, it's been a while, so.
The apartment building, nothing with the run with the building on these, they're waiting now for 6 months, they can't get electrical boxes and air conditioners. So they don't.
Yeah. A reasons to do certain things, absolutely. I just want in general.
Yeah, I just wish you could have told us who these kind of stuff.
Hey, I see the apartments, they're advertising for the, what is it, the ones on the south side. What are they called?
5 flats.
5 flats. 1,700 for 1 bedroom?
That's the low
At the low ball.
Low ball. Yeah, you don't get a thing.
There's another one right down the street.
Well, isn't the guy you had, he's building stuff? Yeah.
Those are ones by steel stacks and that.
Yeah, flats. I thought it was a parking garage. The lights are weird, they have these horizontal lights above the windows. From a distance, it's like a parking garage.
They always take the south side. It's both the big sister of the city. They put it $4 million worth of street lights. That corridor that goes down.
Yeah, the four draw,
Yeah.
all the lights. And
Yeah.
Now they got a new Wawa down the other end.
Yeah, no, the south look, the steel with that man's now, the Wind Creek, and Arts Quest is, you know it. The south side is really getting filled up.
The ultimate measure though is when the president of steel, they changed all the stop lanes with his car, the office building on Third Street, saw it, does not stop.
I'm new to it.
When they
Hey,
changed
have they
it.
built that Wawa Arts Lodge yet?
Yes.
It is up
Well,
there.
it's not, they're working on it.
I used to go into Hellertown a lot, but now it's like driving to Philly. It's amazing, that, right? Oh.
Down there at 1 o'clock at night, and it's fairly busy.
And you gotta be careful because people are paying attention to traffic signals. And there's, you know, a little drinking involved in gambling.
You know, like.
But that's why we're at Hellertown, I used to go get steak sandwiches at Crossroads. Now, but more
They have
involved.
a better steak sandwich than Boston's.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, who's the chair?
Okay.
Who's the chair? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was, Mr. Myers. Excuse me.
Calling to order the Capital Projects and Operations Committee meeting for October 18th. Do we have any courtesy of the floor? No. The only item on our agenda is a discussion on broadband expansion. And just to give a little background, we'd been asked to go to Upper Mount Bethel, me, Lori, and Tom, and they had a meeting on providing better wireless broadband to their residents. And with all this federal money, we got to meet Mr. John Howard from ETI, and he seemed to be very knowledgeable on the subject. And then I received an email from Amy Cozy, representing Senator Casey this week, about questions about broadband. And I had asked her if anybody was looking into providing broadband as a utility provider, making a county or municipality the provider of the broadband. She said that they were actually looking into that. A bunch of counties and municipalities had looked into that. So I wanted to bring Mr. Howard in to answer any and all questions regarding that, and I'm sure he has some information he'd like to provide us. So, Mr. Howard?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Howard, and I'm the president of ET Industries. The company is involved in defense and telecommunications. We are an aerospace company. We do electronic warfare for various hypersonic planes, and we are also involved in telecommunications in 12 countries. So the United States government has allocated several programs for broadband to the tune of $42 billion. Now, $42 billion is not sufficient to cover the whole country. Our estimates show that we need about $230 billion to do broadband in the United States, broadband internet, fast broadband internet, as the government requires us to do. There are two ways of providing broadband. One is with optical fiber. Optical fiber can provide high speeds and large bandwidth, but not infinite bandwidth. Now, not infinite bandwidth. There are limitations to the bandwidth of the optical fiber, but the speeds are large. Now, optical fiber can provide fixed wireless to homes, but we are all accustomed with cable TV. Before we had antennas on our houses, now we have cable TV. So it's a good way to provide broadband. Because of Upper Mount Bethel Township had no cell connection in various areas, we were asked free of charge to go around and check the township and see what was the problem. Indeed, there was a problem with cell phones in various areas. So we proposed to add a tower. First, we asked AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile to assist. They declined to assist. They were not interested in providing cell coverage. So we proposed to put a tower. The question was, since we are putting a tower for cell phones, can we put broadband on this tower instead of digging the township? First of all, there was no optical fiber near the township, so that would have been a difficult and expensive task. So there is a method where you can provide high speeds, as the government requires, using the towers that already are in the county. You have about 120 towers here. We can use them to provide broadband. Now, broadband internet, not only for the houses, but also for mobile phones. You cannot take a fiber with your phone when you go out. And it will be less expensive. So, we are not against fiber. I've done fiber since 1975. We have a company in Germany that is doing a subsidiary that does fiber. But fiber is expensive and slow. So if you want to wait until the 2030, yes, you should have fiber in most places. If you want to spend between $30,000 to $80,000 per mile, yes, you can have fiber. The government has allocated 20% of the required funding if you are going to do optical fiber throughout the United States. So there are two methods of providing broadband internet. One is through, indeed, optical fiber, and the other is what we call wireless fiber. That is, having the towers that you have, if we can use them, if we are permitted to use them, by the owners of the tower, or put 18 to 20 total towers to cover this county. This state has raised approximately $1.8 billion for broadband. And New Jersey raised 750, but they raised themselves another billion. So they have 1.75 billion. And we are going to see them next week. So the question here is, if we want to wait until the year 2030 and beyond to get broadband, then we can sit, light a cigar, and wait for the optical fiber to be implemented. If we want to use the existing structure that you already have, then we could use the existing towers, again, where we are permitted. Tomorrow, American Tower Corporation might refuse to put systems on it, or AT&T may refuse, or Crown Castle may refuse. We don't know. We haven't approached them. But you do have 120 towers. Can we use them? Maybe we'll use some of them, if not all. That will cut the cost. Go ahead.
Can I ask a silly question? Where does the source of the internet, if you're going to tap into the internet and be an ISP, where are you getting this? Where are you getting it from? If Northampton County wanted to be the ISP for the residents in their county?
Well, we have to build a network operation center. We have to connect either via air or via fiber outside the county, like we connect throughout the world with the undersea cables and so on and so forth.
Who would we pay to connect to that source?
Well, we have to connect with a fiber, like Comcast, for example. It's a fiber company. We have to work with them so that we can take things out of the county to other counties, other states, and other parts of the world, like it's happening now. Today, that's what is happening. You use your phone to call, for lack of another country, Greece, for example. How do you do that? You have to connect to AT&T, from then through fiber or through undersea cable, go to another country. It's exactly the same thing. The only difference is that instead of digging every road to put fiber, or putting like electricity cables on the top where the wind can break the fiber, because fibers are very thin and they are glass, you have an additional method, which is putting it on the towers that you already have. Now, if you didn't have them, I'd say, okay, don't worry. It's a matter of course, but you have them. Now, if you don't want to use them, it's fine as well. So the situation here is that if you want to move fast and be the first in the nation to provide broadband, use your towers. It's yours, it's your assets. If you want to wait until the year 2030, then this can be done as well. And you don't have to use us. If you want to use other companies, we are willing to be free of charge consultants to you, assist you. You already have some technical people. I know that Mr. Giovanni is an IT person, so you do have some people here, and we are offering ourselves, again, free of charge to be consultants if you choose something else. If you use another company, or if you decide to use AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile or, I don't know, what other company, Frontier, then we are willing to be consultants to you. But we have applied for funding for Upper Mount Bethel Township through the Capital Fund. Now, for the BEAD actual funding, you have to apply. So you must apply to get funding for your county. Every county out of all the 67 counties will apply to the BEAD fund or other funds to get funding for their broadband initiative. that is now under utilities in the counties and townships and municipalities. Now, we don't want the county to stay out. We are willing to provide a percentage of profit to the county or to a joint venture with the county. I know that your consultant is, and I believe some other people are against the county being involved. I don't know why, but you know, it will be beneficial to the county if they have a percentage so they can use this part of the profit for other projects within the community. So I would suggest, and it's your decision, ladies and gentlemen, that it can be a joint venture between whoever you choose to be the ISP and yourselves, because you can either get a profit or you can do a joint venture, you know, and be part of providing the service to your people. As I said, broadband now is under utilities.
Generally, I wouldn't be in favor of the county getting into this business, but I guess my question is, could we see this first on a small scale?
Yes.
I'd like to see this done in Upper Mount Bethel
Fine.
where it is needed. And if you can demonstrate that it's done there, well then, you know, maybe we could see based on that. But I mean, we identified that Upper Mount Bethel is a problem. So
Yes.
I guess my question is, can we do something there first
Of course,
as a demonstration as to what can be done?
of course.
And before we even consider moving forward?
Absolutely. I don't know why you are against the county being involved. It's your citizens that require it. And as you know from Upper Mount Bethel, the companies like AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile don't give two hoots about your citizens because they already have their phones and they are already customers. Whether they receive a service or not, it doesn't matter to them. You don't make more money by giving them more service. They are already customers. So I would think that since you, ladies and gentlemen, are the servants of the people of this county, you will be interested to do something and be involved and provide to the citizens of this county part of the money that this ISP is going to make. But again, it's your decision.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Thank you. You told us that we own these towers.
I didn't say that.
You didn't.
I said there are already in
There
the...
are 120 towers.
That's
right?
correct.
And who owns those towers currently?
There are various groups that own it. American Tower Corporation owns some, Crown Castle owns some, and, you know, some other companies own. Now, we have to approach these guys because they take a rent once you put a system.
Right.
So we can pay a rent instead of spending $500,000 to build it, of 3,000-4,000 a month, and we can use them.
So I guess my question is that you want to utilize these towers. First, we don't even know if we can utilize them because we'd have
Correct.
to enter into some agreement with
Correct.
various companies.
Correct.
And each of those companies might have a different price point for the
Correct.
rent. So we would become renters in a utility to provide to the citizens, or we would pay $500,000 to build our own towers. And
Correct.
I think if
You are not going to pay that, Ms. Zirinsky.
Who will?
The United States government is going to pay.
Well,
You're not paying a penny.
ultimately, taxpayer money, that's
That's
taxpayer.
right, but they are allocated already.
Sure, it's allocated. The question is, would we be able to access all that money for that? And what would be the plan going forward to maintain that
There
in
is a
terms of not only the rent, but then the per monthly costs for usage and maintenance? Like, why would a tower company allow us to do this?
Because they get rent. Why do you, if AT&T has put equipment on a tower that belongs to American Tower Corporation, Why are they allowed? Because they pay rent. That's why they are allowed. So we'll pay the rent the same way as AT&T. So why we should not be allowed?
Right, but this is a one-time allocation from the federal government, right?
Well,
I mean, this isn't, you already said that this is only 20%. The $42 billion is approximately 20%
Correct.
of the $230 billion necessary to provide broadband
Correct.
for the whole entire United States, right?
correct.
So the possibility of us getting a little sliver of that to put broadband here would be sort of like a one-time bucket.
Well, let me tell you that if you don't apply, there is no
Of course, we're
possibility.
going to apply.
Okay.
So that's not the question. The question is, how will we allocate that money and what is the best? So that's why I'm asking these questions.
Well, it depends.
Because you have, if we enter into this rental agreement for X number of years, how long does that equipment last? Would the county or even Upper Mount Bethel be encumbered indefinitely as an added expense?
Well, you're not going to get into an agreement. We are going to get into an agreement. We as an ISP, if you want to do a joint venture, yes, we'll be involved. If you want to get a percentage of profit only, you will not be involved. We are preparing to provide you with 5% of the profit, whether you are involved or whether you are not involved.
I guess
So-
that's the part that I don't really understand.
Well,
If
okay.
we're not involved, if you're the person renting these, you're the entity, ETI, right? ETI is renting these towers,
Yes,
and the county would be the pass-through basically for the money that you would be funded for in this project to start up. Is that
not
accurate?
quite. The money that will be allocated will be to put in place the broadband internet that the government requires. The running will be done by ETI putting its own resources for operation of the broadband system. So we are proposing to provide a percentage of the profits to the county, because if you remember, your consultant, ladies and gentlemen, said that you should raise your taxes. We disagree with that. We want part of the profit to go to the county, to go to the people whom you serve.
Right, I guess what okay.
What's the misunderstanding?
No, I'm trying to work through it so I do understand to clarify these points. Because if you're going to use the towers, you're going to take that money to create the infrastructure and you're going to create a profit from it. Where are you going to charge individuals a fee? Like AT&T
yes.
charges me for my wireless,
Well-
whatever it does every month.
Right. The charges that we propose to charge is $49 a month, out of which $30 can be given back by the United States government. There is a fund where people can apply, and you could be instrumental to help people apply to receive $30 back from the United States government. So when you run a business, you need not to make a loss. So yes, there will be a
sure.
charge.
Right. So this $49 a month would come from like a subscription or a
Correct.
contract fee
Correct.
from the individual who opts in.
Correct.
So you would be giving individuals the ability to opt into your wireless
Correct.
network.
Correct.
And how would that compete with, let's say, the expenditure that they already have for the cable or internet features that they hold in their household? Would that replace them, or would that be in addition to?
No, if they are satisfied with what they have, and I want to point out that this county has about 130, 140,000 locations, as they are called, buildings, out of which 120 are underserved or unserved. So those guys who are underserved or unserved, obviously, they cannot be satisfied with what they are getting. The United States government says that you have to get, and I'm going to mention a number, 100 megabits per second per house. If you don't get it, you are underserved. And if you are below 25, then you are considered unserved.
So is that $30 a guaranteed subsidy to anybody who would subscribe? Or are there certain criteria of income and location or something like that, and what's the duration of that $30 subsidy? Would that be first year, 5 years, 10 years?
Well,
20?
for the moment, it's 5 years, but I don't know. Next year, we have elections. I don't know what the next government is going to do.
Oh, because, yeah, they've extended tax credits and certain things, so they could
Yes.
potentially, but for right now, it's 5 years.
Yes, I'm not a magician. I cannot state what the future brings. But what I'm saying is that you already have towers. Do you want to use them? Or do you want to leave them as a memento, as a monument, so you can see it while they are digging the roads to put fiber? It's your choice. And there will be fiber to certain area. And I agree with the gentleman here, John, if I may call you, that yes, we have to do Upper Mount Bethel first. Now, we have done this overseas. We have done it in Haiti. We have done it in San Francisco. So we've made it in several areas. At this moment, we have requests to go to Cairo, to go to Lesotho in South Africa, to go to Bahrain, and so on and so forth, to provide this system, because it's much cheaper than digging the roads. And they already have themselves towers. So, but I agree, we must try Upper Mount Bethel first. I don't
How
disagree.
many towers are in Upper Mount Bethel specifically?
Just one.
How many? There's one tower. And that one tower, what is the radius of access?
Well, it's supposed to be about, I would say about 5 miles. But Upper Mount Bethel has a lot of forest. And
Attenuation, right?
thank you very much. Attenuation, yes. So, and forest, especially in the summer with rain, absorb. So you have to be, and I don't want to say that word, innovative, clever, how to do it. Because the object of the exercise is for us to provide the service. If we don't provide the service with the money allocated, we'll use our money, our investments, but we have to produce the service, because for us, it's critical for everybody to see what the actual wireless fiber can do. So it's not just putting a system, it's a system for all to see. And Upper Mount Bethel in the county, in this county, Northampton County, will be the first such system anywhere in the world. It will be the second system ever. The first system was in the Star Wars projects, the Strategic Defense Initiative, where we were involved exactly for a similar system, for military purposes. But this will be the first ever commercial system.
But with only one tower, how many towers would you need to meet the square radius or the square footage
for
of
Upper Mount
all of
Bethel?
Upper Mount Bethel?
No, I don't. I mean, we have done, the areas of problem in Mount Bethel is 4.3 miles, about 7 kilometers. That's not a problem for us. The gain of the antenna is important. The number of beams in this direction and that direction are important, and they will be allocated in specific areas, which will cover the whole township. When we did the Strategic Defense Initiative, it was an umbrella on the top, covering everywhere with many beams, many energy beams. And it's, since you mentioned energy before, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a method, and don't get me wrong, I am also a proponent of optical fiber. I worked since 1975, but they take time, they take cost, and also they are not for mobile. You cannot use your phone carrying your optical fiber and going around. The only one for mobile is this system. So if you want both mobile and fixed, At the same time, this is a system that can be used. And again, I don't want you to go and get money from the government, which you must, though. You have a deadline, which is December 27th, to go and ask for money. If you don't ask, you are not going to get. So somebody else will. So we can help you fill forms and provide the business plan for the county so you can get the funding. It's up to you. You want the funding? Please apply. You don't want the funding? Please do not worry.
Mr. Rinsky, are you all done?
One more point. You said that the one tower would
would cover
suffice to cover that. And if it didn't, you have this guarantee that you would build another tower.
Exactly.
You would build another tower for
Absolutely.
$500,000
And
on your own dime?
On my own.
On your own dime?
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you something. There were two places, actually, there were three places, as I mentioned, that we could put towers. One place is out because my wife would divorce me if I choose that place, but that's another story. So there are two towers. One, and let me tell you, there has been an engineering company who, before us, went and checked and found exactly the same spot. We didn't know, we were told later that there is a place in a substation. We can put a tower inside the substation. The substation is also on a hill. So yes, we can put a second tower.
So when you build that tower, if necessary, would you charge the county or Upper Mount Bethel Township?
I'm not
rent?
charging anybody. That money is from the fund that the United States government allocated. I'm not
When
charging you a
that-
penny.
When that fund runs out, would there be?
I have investors. We can invest ourselves, or we can get investors. If we need another tower, we will build another tower.
I think we're getting a little too far into the weeds on this one, but Mr. Myers.
I'm just loving weeds today, you know.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
No, when we do business, and that's why we are since 1996 as a company. Before we had another company that we sold. But when we take a project and it's a fixed price, it's up to us to complete it with our profit. If we don't complete it with profit, we will lose the monies, but we will make it. Because our reputation is far more important than 3 pennies.
I just want to
in
make
the
one
bank.
thing clear.
understand that.
We're not able to, as a body, engage in any, we're here to ask information of if this county were to venture. There is money out there, it's being allocated.
It's money allocated.
We're trying to get information as to how would we, A, access that money, which maybe you can be an assistance of, but that's neither here nor there.
It's up to you, ladies and gentlemen.
But logistically, and what are our capabilities, and that's why we're here to ask an expert in the field. But as far as the dollars and cents of it, really not the purview of the whole meeting. We're just trying to get as much information as possible because we can't engage in contracts.
I do understand that, but I was at the meeting at Mount Bethel Township, I believe it was yesterday.
No, Monday.
My days are all bleeding together, so, anyway, it was Monday. Today's Wednesday, thank you. Okay, I was there.
I'm sorry.
But I was there, and it seemed like they wanted to engage in a contract with him or some sort of thing. They're evaluating that. So I think it's important that we look out for our county members. And even though, I mean, I'm an at-large council member, even though I don't live in the Slate Belt, like I care whether or not they're going to get a good deal or they're going to engage in a contract where they may be encumbered in the future when funds run out. So I think these questions are really important
Okay.
to understand
want to
and,
lose sight.
and have in
I
a
agree,
public
but
meeting.
let me,
Mr. Myers,
Sorry,
I've been waiting patiently.
you have.
Where exactly is the tower at now?
where exactly?
Yeah,
Is what? I'm
in Upper
sorry.
Mount Bethel. Where is the tower located now?
The tower is located on 512 in Upper Mount Bethel, and it has AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. And I told the story, and Ms. Rinsky was there. I had called AT&T, and they told me that they don't care because they're already customers. So why bother and have an expense? And if you remember, Ms. Rinsky and the rest of you, ladies and gentlemen, you're consultants that you have to raise taxes, and every house has to pay $155 because I was here and listening to him. And he said, I know you politicians don't like to raise taxes. No, I don't like to raise taxes also because I pay them. So I would like you to use the bloody profit of the company to fund your citizens, giving back to your citizens, not tax them. We have taxed enough. So, and did
Just
you
to follow up, isn't there a tower, the new place at Pector's building? Yes.
But yes.
I don't think we're talking about.
No, I'm talking about the horse farm. Where is that horse farm? You know, when you go,
It's Potomac Road.
yeah, Potomac Road, yes. Now, we went, again, free of charge, we didn't charge the township anything. We measured, I had 2 instruments in my car, measuring, and we found, indeed, the cell phones are not working. What happens if somebody gets out, he has an accident? Who is going to be blamed? Don't forget that now broadband is under utilities. So who are we going to sue? You guys? You know? So now, if you decide to use another company, another method, another system, that's fine. But use us as consultants if you want, again, free of charge. We don't want any payment. Just to ask the relevant questions. It's our field. We know it well. Nobody could put a mask in front of us or blind us in this field. So, if we can help, I know that you are accustomed to pay your consultants. We don't want any payment.
Mr. Howard, Mr. Myers, any more questions? Go ahead. All right, so you're saying one tower could serve Upper Mount Bethel. If
Yes.
Northampton County were to feel willing to go through this county-wide, how many towers would have to be utilized to be able to offer broadband to the entire county? And I'm sure it's an estimate, but a rough estimate.
The number we have as a minimum is 18 towers. 18 towers, 18 to 20. So we don't want to use all the 120 towers. The reason you need so many is because their system, although it has high input power, their antennas are very low gain. We have a different method. And that's why we were chosen from the Brilliant Eyes, the Strategic Defense Initiative for the United States government.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You said 18 to 20 towers. You said 18 to 20 towers. These 18 to 20 towers, I presume, would have a variety of owners.
That's correct.
So you'd have to go in and negotiate with,
Absolutely. We have a cost.
but any one could file the whole plan. if they would.
No, we will find another place. We choose.
All right.
That's why we said 18 to 20. If there is 1 or 2.
So you would, you would map out the optimal tower
Absolutely.
arrangement.
Absolutely.
And if somebody said, no, thank you, or they wanted too much to access the tower, you would say, okay, well, we can now adjust and make the tower.
Absolutely. But let me say that, at least in Mount Bethel, I found them begging to use their land to put a tower, because you pay for 100 by 100 feet, $1,500 a month, and they don't have to build anything, they don't have to do anything. You just keep paying every month $1,500. So we didn't encounter what you're saying. What we encountered was when we went to First Energy to discuss putting a tower in their substation. It took years. They sent me from one person to the other, to a third, and so on and so forth. And when we went to Verizon to discuss Upper Mount Bethel, I found myself talking to Bangalore, India, regarding what we should do in Upper Mount Bethel. So it's up to you. You don't have to use us. You don't have to apply to get money for broadband. You do what you like. You are not going to make us, and you are not going to break us. We have a lot of defense contracts now because of the war in Israel and Ukraine, so we don't have any problems. But we would like to help if we could. And hopefully next month I will be visiting Lesotho, King Lech III, who wants to put in Lesotho telecommunications. He wants to make it a very powerful telecommunication nation. And hopefully I'll be there in November.
I don't have a que, I wanted to ask our CCAP. Expert for CCAP. How does this, I'm sorry. I want to ask our CCAP people, how does this fit in with CCAP's overall broadband plan, or, I mean, is this somehow a dovetail, or is what he wants, is what he's suggesting, would that fit in with it, or is this something totally different?
Well, my understanding
I
is
don't
that
know.
particularly in the rural counties, they want to get in the business because there are no other providers. We're in a different situation here because we have a lot of providers, but there are still holes that we need filled.
Right.
And the one that we saw
But I
on
mean,
the
it's
map,
the system he's suggesting as opposed to what we hear about, the fiber, as opposed to I mean, does CCAP have a position on fiber versus wireless or anything like that?
not that I'm aware of.
All right, I was just curious.
The CCAP is more interested in expansion and making sure it's accessible and available. I don't think anybody's been talking about what he's talking about, and I don't mean that in a disparaging
No.
way. It's just, it's the first time I heard of it was a few.
Yeah, it's not a selling
Months
point when
ago.
you say first in the country. It scares me if I hear that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to be an outlier for anything, but, so are you currently engaged with Upper Mount Bethel Township? You guys are moving forward?
Well, we have 5 counties to hit, and then we are moving to the state of Pennsylvania and the state of New Jersey. As I said, next week I'm visiting Trenton, and the 5 counties are Warren County in New Jersey, and the Northampton, Lehigh, Monroe, and Carbon. So we want to join these and have a network operation center and security operation center in perhaps Upper Mount Bethel, because it's the first one that showed interest in this. And again, we are not against fiber in the ground. It's just it will take time and it will cost a lot of money. If that's not a problem, then we can wait until the year 2030, and I'm sure things will be provided by then. Again, you don't have to choose us. You can tell us to go and jump in the river, and you choose a company of your liking. You said there are many companies here, which is good. If you are satisfied with what you have, and if you achieve 100 megabits per second as the government mandates, then there is no problem. We don't even have to discuss that. And you don't even need to apply for funds if you are satisfied.
Mr. Godfrey?
Yes.
The essence, if I boil it down, and I like to get to the nub of things at a time, you're saying that you can do it faster, cheaper, and better than
Yes,
a lot of people.
any wireless system is faster than
I mean, your
digging.
company, though, in particular.
Sorry?
Your company, you're representing your company. I mean, I know you're
Absolutely.
talking in general, but you feel, based on what you've said about the various locations around the world, you're saying you could make this happen, this wireless system in the county,
Yes.
faster and cost less than doing the fiber. I don't know.
Yes, but if you have fiber already near, okay, it's not a problem. We don't have any problems with that.
Lori?
So, without going into the weeds, so what you're talking about a lot of technology that's not in my wheelhouse.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
No. We need people like you, we need people like me. But,
You people.
you people, shut up, it's my time to talk. So what's the timeline, or what's the, like, it's a lot of theory and it's a lot of ideas. What are some practical
Well,
posts along the way to
right.
get to what you're proposing?
because we say it's an idea, we have used a much simpler system with 4 beams, and it's in your documents, in Haiti, where we increase their speed 10 times. So it's not something that is in the papers. I did the mathematics, or I did a small experiment in a lab. It's working now. And if you look in San Francisco, the president of the company said he received, 256 QAM, let's forget what that is, something very big, in a 5 miles radius. So it's not that we are doing it mathematically and say, listen, we could do this. It's something that's never been done before. It has been done. The cost to Haiti was $15,000, and they increased their customers 10 times. So it's working at this moment. What we are proposing is to put more than 4 beams, to put 24 beams, 32 beams, so you can increase the speed much more. Now, we put, and I can't say the number, many beams in the Star Wars project, much more than what we are proposing to you. So we can see many missiles coming to us.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, let's call me John, please.
Well, and you could go back to it, but you're saying the Defense Department, San Francisco, Haiti, we're little old Northampton County, and we don't have huge budgets.
Of course.
One tower with, you're saying 4 beams, I'm looking at these pictures, and I've seen these things mounted on towers all over the place. What are we looking at to equip and to service one tower for a year? Assuming this tower's there and you're just leasing it, like a real.
Right. Unfortunately, I don't have with me the business plan for the county, but I can send it to you guys.
Can you give us a ballpark number?
Oh, you have it?
On the computer,
Oh,
and
the
they have
computer.
copies of it.
Oh, is it in your?
Oh, you have it. Yes, I don't have it.
Pages 17 and 18. Yeah, that's where it's,
No, you have the Upper Mount Bethel there, I think. Oh, you gave them the Northampton? Okay.
so this is page 17 and 18.
But this has nothing to do with you guys. It's our running. The money comes from the government, we put it on, and then we expect this number of customers. Now, if you do a joint venture, then you will share that. If you don't, then we are willing to give you 5% of profit, even if you don't want to get involved.
So again, I don't think you answered my original
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry.
and I
What-
don't mean to take away from what John was requesting, but again, you talked about Haiti. So it's been done, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. But how do you start here, and what's the timeline here? What's first step, second step? First step is to get tower acquisition, or?
No, the first
tower-
step is to get the money from the capital fund. We applied and we're waiting.
So
Capital
what
fund,
did you apply for? How much money?
we applied for $4 million.
And was
And
that in that first round of funding that,
August 9th was the deadline. We applied on August 8th for $4 million. We are waiting, apparently, from what we understand, the answer will come the first quarter of 2024. So we are sitting pretty, waiting for the result. Of course, many companies applied for many little townships. So our information is that 2,200 applications were made for $200 million. Some will get it, some will not. So if we get it, we will build the tower. If we don't, then we will need to at least do something for the people who have no cell phone, because that can be a dangerous situation if you don't have it.
let me slow you down. If you get the money, you said you will build the tower, or you would bid on the tower?
No,
I didn't
we will
understand.
build it.
You
We
will
will
build.
make it, yes, so it's the
So you will
project.
build one, and it will have how many It'll have the 4 beams.
How many? Either 3 or 4 beams. We haven't decided yet.
So then you would own the tower. You'd own it, you'd build it.
Well, if we build it, we will own the tower, yes. And we'll pay rent to the landowner there, $1,500 a month. That's part of our cost.
So then where do we come in as the county? What's your
Well, we will.
ask right now?
Right. We will provide automatically 5% of profit to you guys to use for your citizens. Now, if you want to do a joint venture, why do I say that? Because even though the money comes from the United States government, you are applying for it. So you may come and say, okay, John, we need to do the county, but what is it for us? We give you the money, which is not our money, it's the government, but you say it's your taxes, my taxes too, and we would like to get a percentage of the business, 10%, 20%, whatever it makes sense. We don't mind that. You don't have to be involved in the running if you don't want to, but you can be own a percentage of the business. And as the business expands to other counties, maybe they will want a percentage for the next county, and so on and so forth. Now, I know
So
that.
wait, again, going off I'm
I'm
still
sorry.
trying to do the timeline.
All right.
How long we build the tower?
Well, no, because again, I get he's a guy with big ideas, but I'm a person that has to have like pieces of understanding. You're gonna build a tower, we could buy in, so I don't see where our buy-in comes. Like, I hear 2 things. I'm hearing you say that you'll give us 5% of the
Correct.
profit, but what do we have to do to get that 5%?
Nothing.
You're just gonna give us 5% 'cause you like
Absolutely.
us,
You have to do nothing.
Right?
Well, if you don't want it, you just
No,
let me
I
know.
wish more people would be offering me things for free like that,
So-
but, you know.
I guess the projections of the net income are on page 18, right? So
Yeah.
it says like at the bottom of the first year, 5,
I thought I had the floor.
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm sorry.
Well, your consultant that came here said for a number of years, $9 billion profits came out of the county. You were there, I was there when he said that. And if you have taped that, please put it on and you will see it. It's not me, it's your consultant that stated that. And you do trust your consultant, I expect.
So then after the 1 tower's built, then what?
Well, that will cover Upper Mount Bethel. Our job is finished. We are going to do a network operation center, and we will want to expand because the Upper Mount Bethel monies is not enough. It's not something that will make, it's a little township. So if we can get the county, that's different. Then we will move to Lehigh, Carbon, and Monroe. We want the center to be in Northampton County, in Upper Mount Bethel, since it's our beginning there for the county.
So then, it sounds too good to be true in some ways, and then it sounds exciting in others. So what's the downside?
The downside is that we don't get the money, and therefore we have some difficulty, and we have to decide what to do. In that case, you guys will apply for the BEAD fund, as it's called, or some other fund. There is the agricultural fund, the COVID fund, and so on and so forth. Or you need the BEAD fund, and you need 2025 to begin to expand, and you have 5 years to do it. So 2030, you'll be okay.
And then, as far as this tower and it's the 3 or 4, what's the range on that?
Well, we assume about 7 kilometers, 4.5 miles, 4.3, 4.4 miles. It can be more. Now, you have problems there because of the forest, as I said. So we made the beams so that they can go to where they are required. It covers in the end, yes, it covers in the end the whole township. That's the object of the exercise.
It's a lot of money for 1 township, though.
Yes,
Like-
you're right.
like what you
It's
do
not
to-
that. It's,
To expand the range.
if you need to expand, then we put a second, or we put a higher antenna, the maximum antenna we can put. And let's see if I can change this in dB. It's about increasing the distance about 300 times. And we're not going to do that because that's expensive. But for the United States military, we will do that.
And I guess my last question is, what other partnerships have you sought besides Northampton County? Because obviously, it's been done before. You have this knowledge that we don't. Are you looking
For
at fish
us,
to do funding? Have you
yes.
gone to the federal government and asked them to participate in this?
well, you guys have to ask the federal government. The BEAD fund is yours, not mine. I applied to the capital fund where I am allowed to apply. But you, now, have we done partnerships? We have done. We have a German company that we partner. Normally, as a company, we rather sell equipment than get involved in running it. But now we have made a joint venture with an ISP. The company is called Terabit Wireless Telecom, and we will proceed. We are not going to be involved with CTI to run, but the joint venture will run. And if that joint venture, that's a joint venture with each county, that's fine. We have no problems. If not, that joint venture will provide 5% of profit to the county, to each county. Now, if you don't want that, that's your choice.
What did you say that company's name was?
I'm sorry? Yes, it's a new company, Terabit Wireless Telecom, TWT, just registered. We have, though, Discomfunktechnik in Germany, where we use as an ISP for Europe.
Like Tel Aviv, as in like
I'm sorry? Terabit.
Terabit.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm like,
Sorry. My accent, Miss Zinsky.
that's why I'm trying.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So, thank you. Terabit, that makes more sense.
Anybody have any other questions?
Well,
Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Howard?
no, I would like to thank you for having me here. We're trying to do the best, and please remember, if you are not interested in us, that's fine. We are here to help. If you want to use us as consultants, it's free of charge. We don't want to charge anything. I live in this county too.
If you're offering to do consulting free of charge, can you give us some sort of research or some sort of information based on the worst parts of our county that aren't getting good broadband connections?
Yes, well, I have to do a survey to do that, but I could do some checking. Like we've done when we went to Upper Mount Bethel, we did a survey. We took a car, we took 2 instruments, and we went around checking. And we found that AT&T was the strongest of the 3 because they had 4 channels. Verizon had only 2 channels, and T-Mobile had also 2 channels. And none of them was interested in expanding service. Well, they already have their customers. Why spend more money? Just because they don't have service?
Why can't they apply for this money too, though?
Of course, they could apply it if they want.
So why wouldn't they want
Well, I don't know.
to benefit their service?
Well, because they know that the government is a pain. It takes time, politicians take time. Look, the capital fund, we applied in August. They will tell us in May or April, May, what's the decision.
Yeah, Q1.
Nobody has time to wait for,
I do understand the incremental nature of government.
the AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile will go when everybody is exasperated, there is no money, they were spent, and go to the government and say, some more money, and we build it. And if you remember, I believe your consultant stated you should go to the big guys, and I disagree with that. The big guys are interested in money. The smaller guys are interested to provide a service for their communities, for their area. They don't see it somewhere in, sorry,
But you're international, aren't you a big guy?
I'm international, yes. But that's where I live. You are international too, Miss Tracy.
International Tower. That's funny.
If there's no other questions, thank you very much, Mr. Howard.
Thank you again for having me.
Appreciate
Thank you. All right, bye.
If there's no other comments from the committee,
Peanut gallery.
we're adjourned. Thank you.
Sure. Hey, thank you so much.